Welcome to the Embodied Empath Podcast, the space where sensitive, intuitive women learn to regulate their nervous system, heal anxiety, and live with grounded confidence. I'm your host, Valerie Lundgren. Let's begin. This morning when I was taking my shower, I had reflective moments. That's where I do my best thinking, I guess. But as I was sitting in the shower, I was thinking about who I am, right? And kind of thinking about my journey and where I've come and who I was before even this journey that I was on. And so it just kind of got me thinking, like, do I even know who I am anymore? And if you've said that, maybe you are kind of in the same boat as me, where you thought like, gosh, I used to be so patient. Or maybe you've already on the other end of the healing journey and you realized how much more patient you have become. Maybe you used to have more energy. I think a lot of us are probably in that boat. Maybe you used to love doing things that you don't do anymore. Or maybe you don't even recognize who you are at all at this point in your life. You also maybe are blaming yourself for where you're at. And you've probably had the moment of wondering if there is just something completely wrong with you. And then you go into the thought cycles around, am I becoming too negative? Am I just getting old? Maybe I lost myself. And if you've had these thoughts, I want to offer you another possibility. Maybe you haven't lost yourself. Maybe you're finally meeting the version of yourself that was buried underneath years of survival. Welcome back to the Embodied Empath Podcast. I'm Valerie, and today we're talking about identity. Not the identity you created to survive, but the identity that's waiting underneath it all. So there's a question I ask almost every coaching client at some point, and I ask them, if anxiety disappeared tomorrow, who would you be? And almost every time there's silence. And that's not because they don't want an answer. It's because they've never had permission to ask the question. For many women, especially empaths, their entire identity has been built around surviving, about caring for others, and around performing. They also have had to manage everyone else's needs. So when those patterns begin changing, it feels like they're losing themselves, when in reality, they're discovering themselves. This is something that fascinates me. We often think personality is fixed, but neuroscience tells us something different. Your nervous system is constantly shaping behavior. If your body learned, I have to be perfect, you become perfectionist. If your body learned, I have to stay useful, you become the helper. If your body learned, I have to stay invisible, you become quiet. And if your body learned, I need to make everyone happy, you become the people pleaser. And then after years, those behaviors stop feeling like adaptations. They feel like personality. And you start saying, this is just who I am. I'm just the people pleaser, right? I'm just the helper. I'm just the caregiver. But maybe it's who your nervous system needed you to become. So here's something incredible about the brain. Your brain is a prediction machine. It isn't simply reacting to the world. It's constantly predicting what will happen next based on past experience. So neuroscientists call this predictive processing. Your brain asks, what usually happens here? Then it prepares your body before anything actually happens. If criticism usually followed speaking up, your body predicts criticism. If rejection usually followed saying no, then your body predicts rejection. And if love usually came through achievement, your body predicts that productivity equals belonging. So your nervous system isn't living only in today's reality, it's constantly referencing yesterday. which is why healing often feels so strange. You're teaching your brain to make new predictions. So one of the biggest myths in this healing is that if it's right, it should feel comfortable, when actually the opposite is often true. Your nervous system loves familiarity because familiar feels predictable, and predictable feels safe. So think about that. The nervous system would rather choose a familiar discomfort than an unfamiliar peace. That's why healthy relationships can feel boring, rest can create anxiety, and boundaries can feel selfish. Receiving support can feel really uncomfortable. And it's not because those things are wrong, but because they're unfamiliar. So this is why so many women experience an identity shift during perimenopause. Our hormonal changes reduce your nervous system's ability to keep overriding your own needs. So the coping strategies you've relied on for decades start becoming harder. You simply don't have the same capacity to ignore yourself anymore. Many women tell me, I don't tolerate things the way I used to. And that's exactly it. Your nervous system isn't failing. It's asking for a more authentic way of living. This is especially true for empaths. For years, your identity may have been built around being the safe one or the dependable one. Maybe you were the healer or the listener. You were definitely the fixer, the one everyone comes to. But healing asks a different question. Who are you when you're not fixing anyone else? And that's a scary question, because for many women, helping became the identity. And when the identity shifts, there's grief. I don't think we talk enough about this, that healing involves grief. We're not just grieving people or experiences. Sometimes you grieve the version of yourself that got you here. The woman who worked so hard, who carried so much, who survived everything. Because even though those patterns exhausted you, they also protected you. So before we ask those parts to step back, we thank them. And now we're going to move into our somatic practice, meeting your future self. And as a reminder, please do these somatic practices when you have a moment to sit quietly in a space. Please do not do these while operating any machinery or vehicles. And I'd love for you to try something with me. So if you feel comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes. Otherwise, just do a soft gaze in front of you. And taking a slow breath in. Let it go. And just imagine yourself now, 5 years from now. Not what she looks like, but I want you to imagine how she feels. Does she rush around, or is she moving slowly? Does she apologize for existing, or does she just take up space? Does she constantly worry or trust herself? Notice how her shoulders rest, how she breathes, how she walks. Take a moment and just sit with that, connecting with who you are, who you want to be in 5 years. And then ask yourself, your future self, what do I need to stop carrying? Take a pause here and just listen. Don't force the answer. Listen to the first answer that comes forward, your higher self, and just notice what arises. What do I need to stop carrying? Placing one hand over your heart, just sitting with that, and ask again, what do I need to stop carrying? Just listen. And then placing one hand on your heart. And then silently say to yourself, I give myself permission to become her. Take one breath and open your eyes. Beautiful. If you feel inclined, please go ahead and share with me what your future self is going to be like. Share below in the comments or send me a message. Just knowing healing isn't becoming someone else. It's removing everything that taught you not to be yourself. The anxiety, the fear, the perfectionism, the people-pleasing, the constant proving, one layer at a time, until what's left is you. Not the survival version, the authentic version. So if you've been feeling like you're changing, good. Maybe that change isn't something to fear. Maybe it's the beginning of the most honest relationship you've ever had, the one with yourself. Thank you for spending time with me today. And if this episode touched your heart, I'd love for you to share it with another woman who's in the middle of rediscovering herself. Go ahead and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. And if you're ready to go deeper, you can go and download the free nervous system guide at my website, valerielundgren.co. And just remember this. You were never meant to stay the version of yourself that was built only to survive. You were meant to become the woman who finally feels safe enough to be herself. Until next time, take a deep breath, be gentle with yourself, and remember, healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to who you've been all along. If this episode supported you, share it with another empath who needs it. And if you're ready for deeper work, somatic coaching, nervous system healing, or my Embodied Reset program, just visit mindfulwellness.me. Your healing is not a solo journey. See you next week.